What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I want to talk to you guys about some of my concerns with the future of PlayStation. If you guys haven't heard recently, Sony has announced that they are going to be coming out with some limited edition 30th anniversary consoles of the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, along with also talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro just earlier before. Now, I've noticed some things about Sony with these new announcements with their new PlayStation 5 console variants that are raising concerns for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys too. So without further ado, let's take a look at some concerns about the future of PlayStation and Sony right after the intro. Alright, so before I dive right into this video subject, I just want to give a quick moment and say if you guys do find the video to be entertaining, informative, or any of that good stuff, please do consider giving the video a like. It really does help me out. It helps boost the video up into the YouTube algorithm so more viewers such as you can find videos just like this. And of course, please do consider subscribing because I post a ton of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So if that is something that interests you guys, please do consider subscribing because, like I said, I post a lot of content with those subjects. And of course, if you're going to subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell notification button so you will be notified when I upload a video just like this. Now, let me talk about the first matter at hand when it comes to some of my concerns about the future of PlayStation, the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, let's face it, this isn't exactly brand new news at this point. A lot of people have already made plenty of videos about this and have already talked about their concerns and some of the things they just don't like about the new announcement from Sony. This is going to be a $700 console that is digital only, meaning that if you buy a game from Amazon or some brick and mortar store such as Target, Walmart, GameStop, you're not going to be able to pop that game in and play it on the console. Not going to happen. Instead, you're going to have to do is buy that game off of the PlayStation Store, wait for it to download, and it's going to be saved onto your console. You're not going to have a physical copy. Now, I am a huge advocate for preservation of games and also physical media, as you guys could probably guess by me having this gigantic game room. But I will say that is relatively concerning, and I think that for a lot of people that really do consider themselves to be enthusiasts when it comes to physical media and care about the preservation of media as a whole, this is something that, in my opinion, should concern you a little bit. Because after all, this is kind of showing a trend where Sony is headed to when it comes to the PlayStation brand. PlayStation 5, when it first came out in 2020, you had the two options of your digital only console and your disc based console. Now with the PlayStation 5 Pro, there's not going to be a disc console variant. It's going to just be digital only. You know, I gotta say, that is something that, like I said, in my opinion, should concern you guys if you are considered yourself to be a advocate of physical media. It shows where Sony is kind of headed when it comes to the PlayStation brand. But of course, that's not the only concern that I have with the PlayStation brand as a whole. Now, let's talk about some more recent news. The 30th anniversary release of the PlayStation 5, both with the regular and the Pro models. Now, for those that have watched the announcement trailer, you guys may remember that you can buy a disc drive for those consoles, but of course they are sold separately. Again, this just raises more concerns of mine when it comes to the future of PlayStation. It's pretty clear that Sony wants to move away from using physical media and going more towards digital media. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think the whole 30th anniversary concept is cool. I love the design. You know, they've got a really cool color scheme. It looks basically like the future Holy Grail when it comes to PlayStation collectors. This is probably something that you will want to own if you are a die-hard PlayStation fan. However, the other thing that you may want to consider too when it comes to these consoles coming out, you know, I hate to say it, but if you buy these, like, yeah, you'll be getting a really cool piece of PlayStation history and gaming history and all that, but you're also kind of simultaneously letting Sony know that, hey, you know, you're kind of ready to move on from physical media and you're kind of ready to go all in into digital, right? I mean, after all, this is essentially being marketed as a digital only product. And if you want to be able to use physical media, you know, you're going to have to purchase this separate accessory. Sony is absolutely going to be paying attention to the sales of some of these consoles. Maybe not so much the PlayStation 5 30th anniversary console, because there are just going to be a select number of units. But with the regular PlayStation 5 Pro and the regular 30th anniversary edition of the PlayStation 5, Sony will absolutely be paying attention to those sales of those consoles, and of course be paying attention to the sales of the disk drive, which is sold separately. So even though I personally do not believe I have any authority to tell anybody, hey, don't buy this, you need to buy this or that, right? But I will say, you know, if this is something that concerns you about the preservation of games and keeping physical media alive, you know, you may want to think before you get that 30th anniversary limited edition PlayStation 5 console. I know it's cool, but you may want to think about it. Alright, so I've already discussed about some of my issues when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro that has been announced, and of course the 30th anniversary console variants of the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. I've already touched up a little bit about this in this video, but I do feel like I need to go into a little bit more further detail when it comes to some of my concerns with Sony and the PlayStation brand, and that is essentially the future of PlayStation when it comes to physical media. I mean, personally, I'm kind of surprised that physical media hasn't died off for some of these consoles. I really feel like the plug could have easily been pulled with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, even the Wii U, but I'm glad that did not happen. However, we're now in 2024. We've had these new consoles be announced, where essentially they're going to be digital only. If you want a physical player to your consoles, it's going to be sold separately. I don't think we're headed in a good direction when it comes to the preservation of games. Now, I'm not trying to make this video to just badmouth Sony and badmouth PlayStation. I'm wearing a PlayStation hoodie, right? I love collecting for all different kinds of game consoles. Some of my favorite games are on PlayStation consoles. I love Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, the Uncharted series, Sly Cooper, right? Those are all great games. However, not every company and every brand that you like is always going to make the best choices. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this is one of those cases where not some of the best decisions are being made. Like I said, I'm not going to really focus, and I'm not planning to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro along with the 30th anniversary PS5 consoles, is just simply because I do not want to tell Sony, hey, you know what, this is okay. I'm glad that we're moving into a digital only future. I don't want that. I am a big advocate of physical media, is essentially because I like to own what I've purchased. I don't want to worry about DRM. I don't want to be worried about licensing of buying a game off of a marketplace and then all of a sudden, you no longer have access to it. Sony's already had an issue with that before in the past, where there have been certain episodes of certain TV shows that have been pulled off of the PlayStation Store, and some consumers no longer have access to those shows. Unfortunately, I feel like that could easily become a reality that becomes more common in the future when it comes to the future of PlayStation. Not just PlayStation as a whole, but this could easily go over to Xbox and Nintendo, right? A lot of these companies are easily going to be paying attention to how the PlayStation 5 Pro is performing, since this is now going to be a digital only console. If this thing does well, this is going to entice Microsoft and Nintendo, like, hey, maybe that new Halo game, we don't have to make that physical anymore. The new Xbox, whatever it's going to be called, we can make that digital only. Same with Nintendo. I think the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway, I think, with this whole situation is I think that if you are someone that really, truly loves physical media and game preservation, vote with your dollar. Your dollar is a powerful tool to let these companies know what you want and what you don't want. These companies are in business to make money, and if you do not buy products that are essentially digital only, that's going to let Sony know that, hey, physical media is still in demand. Do not make digital only products with no availability to physical media. But I have to say, those are some of my concerns when it comes to the future of PlayStation. If you guys have any other concerns that you think I did not address, or you have certain concerns of your own, feel free to comment in the comment section down below. Of course, I would love to hear from you guys, but that's what I'm just going to say right here, and I'll conclude it at this time right here. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday, where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.